Unit 4, Lecture.
Robots are useful for many reasons. Firstly, robots never get sick or tired, so they can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In the automobile industry, workers usually work for about 10 hours, and then new workers take over. In contrast, the robots work continuously and only stop for maintenance. Secondly, robots can do work that would be dangerous for humans. For example, robots are often used in coal mining. Coal mining has always been a dangerous and unpleasant job for people. Over the years, hundreds of thousands of people have been killed in mining accidents. Many others have destroyed their health. Robots can get into smaller spaces, and even if there is an accident, they can often use their incredible strength to dig themselves out. Finally, the last important advantage is that robots do not get bored, so work that is repetitive is no problem for a robot. Robots are widely used for assembling components in the electronics industry. It would be very boring for a human operator to make the same integrated circuit day after day, year after year, but robots never complain. At least, not yet.
Unit 4, Talking Point. 1.
What is the most useful thing that a robot could do for you?
The most useful thing? That's a good question. A robot could clean my house, or it could cook for me. But to be honest, I enjoy doing both of those. I think that the most useful thing would be sorting my trash and bringing it outside on cold winter mornings.
Do you hate that?
Oh, yes. How about you?
2.
Do you think that robots will take jobs away from people?
Yes, definitely.
What kind of jobs?
Well, in fact, they have already taken jobs in the automobile industry and other industries. Many people used to work in factories doing simple jobs. Most of these people will be replaced by robots. As robots become cheaper, companies will buy more and more of them. I think that unemployment will rise a lot and that it will cause a lot of social problems. What do you think?
3.
Are you interested in virtual reality?
Well, it sounds really interesting, but I don't really know much about it. I've heard that someday we'll be able to become virtual tourists.
Wow. Where would you go?
I'd love to go to England, but most of all, I'd like to go on a virtual tour to Mexico to practice my Spanish. Where would you go, David?
4.
Will computers be more intelligent than people someday?
That depends. I mean, what is intelligence? Some people are good at mathematics. Others are good at languages. Others are very good at music. So we can say that there are different kinds of intelligence: mathematical, linguistic, and musical.
So, how could computers be intelligent?
I think that computers can become intelligent in different ways. And yes, they can be more intelligent than people in limited ways. In particular, I think that they will be more intelligent than us mathematically. What do you think?
Unit 4, Research and Presentation.
Good afternoon. Today I would like to talk about face recognition technology. Face recognition technology is already becoming an important part of security at airports around the world. It allows machines to recognize criminals or terrorists as they pass through the airport. In the next few years, I predict that it will become more widely used throughout our cities. For example, your supermarket may recognize you and greet you by name when you go to buy your groceries. Face recognition technology will also be important for robots of the future. If a robot is provided with face recognition technology, he will be able to recognize you when he sees you. This will allow the robot to help you in many different ways. For example, a robot at a bar could instantly recognize a regular customer and bring him his usual drink. How does face recognition technology work? When a robot meets a person for the first time, it maps the features of the person's face into a multidimensional face space. In other words, a picture of the face is stored in digital format. All of us have different features, and the computer is programmed to recognize these differences. When the robot meets a new person, he compares it to pictures of people that have already been stored. Even with thousands of stored faces, a successful match can usually be made within a fraction of a second. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 5, Lecture.
Modern processed food contains many additives. These food additives have both good and bad points. Most of them are perfectly safe and improve the quality of our food, but we need to be careful because some of them may be carcinogens. Carcinogens are substances which cause cancer. I'd like to explain the purpose of 5 types of additives. First, I'll talk about preservatives. These are added to food to stop it going bad. Preservatives kill or stop the growth of microorganisms, tiny living creatures that make food go bad. The second group of common food additives is antioxidants. Oxygen gives us life, but it also attacks food, making it go bad. Antioxidants slow the oxidation of fats, colorings, and flavorings. Next, emulsifiers are often used as food additives. Emulsifiers keep the oil and water in food mixed together, because oil and water do not naturally combine. Foods like ice cream and mayonnaise look and taste great only because they contain emulsifiers. The fourth kind of food additives are flavor enhancers. There are really only 5 different flavors: sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and umami. Flavor enhancers change the balance of natural flavors in food to improve the taste. Smell is also an important part of taste, so flavor enhancers may also add some new smells. Finally, thickening agents, as their name suggests, are used to make food thicker. They are often used to give a more attractive texture in foods such as gravy, curry, or jam.
Unit 5, Talking Point. 1.
Do you buy a lot of food at convenience stores?
No, hardly ever. They are really expensive. I don't have much money for food, so I have to spend it carefully. I usually buy lots of vegetables at a little market near my apartment. How about you?
Oh, I buy a lot of stuff at convenience stores. They really are so convenient.
2.
What kind of foods do you think are healthy?
I think that fruit is really healthy. Every morning, I eat a couple of bananas. I love the taste of bananas, and they're full of vitamins. Most importantly, they have lots of natural sugar that gives me energy for the day, but doesn't make me fat. I think that eating lots of vegetables is good too, and a little meat once in a while is good for you. But nothing is as good as fruit.
What kind of meat do you usually eat?
Mainly pork and chicken. I rarely eat beef.
3.
What kind of food can you cook?
Nothing really. In fact, I have hardly ever cooked in my whole life. My mother is a great cook, possibly the best in the whole world. I'm going to find a husband who can cook really well. Otherwise, I'll have to live at home forever.
Would you like to learn to cook?
No, I don't think so. I'll just wait for the right man.
4.
Do you ever buy organic food?
No, I don't think so. Perhaps some of the food in my local supermarket is organic, but I doubt it. There's a little shop called Living Food near my house that sells it. Also, one of my cousins told me that he orders organic rice over the internet. I must ask him for the address of the website. I use the internet a lot, so it would be easy to get. But actually, walking down the road would be easier, wouldn't it? Do you buy organic food?
No, never. I don't really care about what I buy. Maybe I should, but it's so much trouble.
Unit 5, Research and Presentation.
Good afternoon. Today, I would like to tell you about my favorite cookies. These are made by a company called Pepperidge Farm. On the label, it says this product contains no artificial flavors or preservatives. I was happy about this, but I was wondering what kind of ingredients are present. There are 6 main ingredients. These are flour, chocolate, sugar, vegetable oil, milk, and eggs. The flour is enriched. That means that it has added iron and vitamins such as B1, B2, and folic acid. These are all fairly healthy ingredients, but I am worried that there may be too much sugar. Actually, I only worry sometimes because these cookies taste so good. Please try them sometime. Are there any questions?
Unit 6, Lecture.
With the rise of the internet, many doctors and psychologists are beginning to worry about internet addiction. An addiction means that you can't give something up. Internet addiction is similar to other, more obvious addictions such as drugs, alcohol, or cigarettes. What are the symptoms of internet addiction? People with internet addiction spend far more time than necessary online. They check their email all the time and log onto the net even when they are already busy. In addition, they often intend to spend only a few minutes online, but actually spend much longer. If you use the internet for more than 3 hours a day, you may be becoming an addict. Next, people with internet addiction develop different communication habits. They prefer to talk to people online rather than face-to-face. Many will talk to strangers for hours online, but ignore their neighbours. Some internet addicts begin to spend all of their time at home, in front of the computer. They hardly ever leave the house and order food and other necessities over the internet. Another symptom is that internet addicts begin to forget what is most important in their lives. They often neglect important things such as family, work, or study to spend more time on the internet. In addition, they cause damage to their health by skipping meals or not sleeping enough. Addicts' behaviour may completely change until the internet becomes the biggest force in their lives, and they begin to think about the internet all the time, even when they are offline.
Unit 6, Talking Point. 1.
How often do you use the internet?
I use it every day for about 30 minutes. I usually check my email as soon as I get up in the morning, and then have a look at the newspaper online as I drink my morning coffee. Sometimes I spend too much time online. One time I spent 5 hours online before I managed to stop myself.
Wow, that's a long time.
Not really. One friend of mine, she uses it for work and is online for about 14 hours a day.
That's unbelievable.
2.
Do you think that internet dating is safe?
I don't think it's all that different to dating in the real world.
Really? That's interesting. Why do you think so?
Well, we meet and talk to strangers all the time in cafes, bars, and libraries. So why shouldn't we do the same thing online? The whole world is dangerous. Why should the internet be any different? All dating is dangerous.
That's a good point.
3.
Have you ever bought anything over the internet?
Yes, of course. I use Amazon, the online bookstore, all the time to buy books and computer software. I love it because it's fast and cheap.
That's true.
I have become so used to shopping for books online that I almost never go to a real bookstore. I order my cat food from an online shop too. The cans are really heavy, and I hate carrying it back from the store. So I order it online, and they deliver it to my door.
That's really convenient.
4.
Do you have your own homepage?
No, not yet, but I'm hoping to set one up soon.
That's great.
Yeah, I'd like to have a page that shows my photographs. I'd also like to share my travel stories. My new internet provider gave me space for a homepage, so I'm going to try to make one this month.
That should be fun.
Unit 6, Research and Presentation.
Good afternoon. Today I would like to talk to you about Yahoo.com. Yahoo.com is one of the most popular sites on the Internet. It is also one of the most useful. It was one of the first search engines and is one of the most popular. You can search for areas of interest by entering keywords or by using the Yahoo categories. This is shown in this screenshot. But Yahoo is not just a search engine. It has many other great features. For example, you can set up your own electronic photo albums and send the URL to your friends and family. Other people can look at your photos and even order prints. Yahoo can also be personalized so that it shows you new information about your hobbies or new interesting news. The best thing is that, like so many other great websites, Yahoo is free. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 7, Lecture.
In the near future, global warming will lead to big changes in climate for Europe. This will have serious results for both the south and the north of Europe, but the results in each area will be quite different. 1. The south of Europe. The higher temperature produced by global warming is likely to lead to serious problems in the south of Europe. Most importantly, it will become too hot to live comfortably. Indeed, many older people will die because of the heat. In the summer of 2003, more than 10,000 older people died in France because of the heat. This number will rise as global warming worsens. Next, holiday resorts will be very badly affected. Beach resorts on the Mediterranean Sea will lose their beaches as the sea level rises. Skiing resorts in the Alps will lose a lot of snow. Skiing will become impossible in most areas and very expensive in the areas with snow. Other areas that will be strongly influenced are agriculture and the environment. There will not be enough water to grow fruit and vegetables. As the land becomes drier, forest fires will increase. In addition, the environmental effects of global warming will not only be on humans. Many species of birds and animals will become extinct. Eventually, some areas of southern Europe could turn to desert. Finally, global warming is likely to lead to social problems. Environmental refugees will enter Europe from Africa as people move north in search of a gentler climate. The problems of producing food will lead to more crime as the differences between rich and poor people grow. 2. The north of Europe. The north of Europe will have fewer problems, and there are several possible benefits. For example, trees and other plants will grow faster in the warmer climate. There will be warmer winters and less snow. In addition, people will spend less money on heating houses and offices. However, there will be some serious consequences of global warming for the north of Europe. Firstly, there will be more droughts. In other words, there will not be enough water in the summer. Secondly, there will be bigger storms and floods. And finally, insects will bring new diseases.
Unit 7, Talking Point. 1.
Hi, Sarah. Have you talked with your brother lately? How's his vacation going?
Well, it was pretty sunny on Monday and Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, the weather turned bad, and it was raining and cold all day Wednesday and Thursday. It was supposed to be a lot nicer by the weekend.
That's good.
At least that's what it said on the weather forecast. I hope so, because he wants to go windsurfing. How's your sister's vacation going?
2.
What's your favorite season?
I like autumn the most. Spring is nice because the flowers are in bloom and so pretty.
That's lovely. How about summer?
Well, of course, it's fun to go to the beach in the summer, but I really like the falling leaves in autumn. I don't know why, but they make me feel very relaxed. I love going on long walks by the river. What's your favorite season?
3.
Where do you think has the best climate?
I like the climate in Hawaii the most. It is sunny all year round.
Really? There's no rainy season?
Well, they have a rainy season, but even then it never seems to rain much. There is always a lovely soft wind from the ocean.
That sounds wonderful.
Yes, and even when the wind is warm, there are fresh fruit drinks to keep me cool. It's great to wake up and think, wow, it's another beautiful day in paradise.
4.
What should be done to stop global warming?
I think that the most important thing is to grow more forests.
Why?
Well, trees reduce the amount of carbon dioxide, but every year we cut down millions of trees in places like Indonesia and Brazil. Of course, it is important to reduce the burning of fossil fuels, but there is still too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Other ideas, like credits for carbon dioxide, seem really silly to me.
That's a good point.
Unit 7, Research and Presentation.
Good afternoon. Today, I would like to talk about the climate of Ireland. If you look at the map, you can see that Ireland is a small island. This means that nowhere in Ireland is very far from the sea. This has a big influence on the climate. The sea stores heat during the day and releases it at night, so it has a balancing effect. A big influence on the Irish climate is the Gulf Stream, which brings warm water from Central America. This results in a much higher temperature than you would imagine by looking at a map of the world. Ireland has very little snow in the winter, and the temperature rarely goes below 0 degrees. In the summer, the temperature reaches a maximum of about 27 degrees. Ireland has a lot of rainfall, especially on the west coast where the mountains face the Atlantic Ocean. The east of the country has a much lower rainfall. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 8, Lecture.
Construction is one of the biggest industries in the world. It is the third biggest industry after information technology and tourism. In the United States, 8 million people work in the construction industry. In the year 2000, the total value of construction in the US was over $1,000 billion. Construction can be divided into three different types: housing, public works, and commercial. Housing is the biggest sector and accounts for 45% of all construction. Public works, paid for by the taxpayer, accounts for 22%. The remaining 33% is carried out by businesses. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians used only simple tools made of stone, copper, wood, and rope to build huge structures such as the Khufu Pyramid, the largest building on Earth until the 20th century. In the past, human labour was cheap. The pyramids were built by thousands of slaves and low-paid workers. Thousands of years later, in the year 1250, workers used similar tools to complete the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. But technology has made huge changes in the construction industry. It is estimated that each pyramid took at least 30 years to build. Notre Dame took over 100 years to complete. Today, a skyscraper can be built in 100 days. Construction techniques did not really improve until the 19th century, when steel and reinforced concrete were developed. The combination of steel frames and concrete made possible skyscrapers like the Empire State Building in 1931. Concrete now makes up 60% of the infrastructure of developed countries. In the future, steel and concrete will continue to be the most important materials in construction. However, we are also likely to see increased use of carbon fibres. And as nanotechnology develops, we may see carbon nanotubes being used to increase the strength of steel.
Unit 8. Talking Point 1.
So, tell me about your house, please.
Well, actually, I live in an apartment in the city. It's on the 27th floor, so we have a great view.
Wow.
Yes, it's very pretty in the evening. The apartment is bigger than average. It's 105 square meters. Most apartments are only about 80 square meters.
Right.
We have 4 rooms, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a toilet.
So, how big is each room?
2.
What are the advantages of city life?
I've lived in the city all my life, so that's a difficult question for me.
Yeah.
But let me think. Well, I guess the biggest advantage is public transportation.
Right.
I don't like driving, and if I lived in the country, I definitely need a car. Another thing I like about the city is the nightlife. I love going out to late-night cafes with my friends. How about you?
3.
What are the problems of city life?
I think that one big problem is noise. It's never quiet in the city.
Uh-huh.
You can always hear the sound of cars passing by, especially at my apartment, because we're next to a main road. Also, the air pollution is pretty bad.
I see.
Oh, wait a moment. There's a bigger problem. The heat in the summer. The concrete in the city makes it much, much hotter than the country.
Yes.
4.
What big construction projects have been carried out in this area?
There has been a lot of construction in the last 20 years. The main road was widened about 15 years ago.
Right.
And that suspension bridge was built about 12 years ago.
I see.
Let me think. What else? Oh, yes, the subway, of course. The subway was finished 5 years ago. It cost a lot of taxpayers' money, but it is very convenient for getting around the city.
That's great.
Unit 8. Research and Presentation.
Good morning. Today I would like to talk about my hometown. My hometown has changed a lot over the years. Here are 2 sketches of my hometown. The one in Figure 1 is what it looked like many years ago. This area had many small farms, just like this one. In Figure 2, you can see a sketch of the same place that I drew last year. They look like two different places. When the new highway was built, it split the farm into two parts. Many people moved to the area because houses were cheap, and the new road allowed them to travel to work quickly. The population is rising very quickly, and there are more pollution problems. In the past, there were always many people walking in the streets, and people always took the time to talk. Now it seems as if everyone travels by car, bus, or train, and is too busy to stay in one place for even a few minutes. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 9, Lecture.
Part 1. Well, I, in my academic role of Professor of Media Studies, have done a lot of research into television at my university. Well, the average number of television sets in an American house is 2.24. And of course, people are watching them. These televisions are switched on for 6 hours and 47 minutes a day. That's 2,475 hours a year, or about 103 days in total. If you are an average person, you have seen about 200,000 violent acts on television during your life. This year, if you are average, you will see 20,000 commercials. This is crazy. Part 2. Am I average myself? How much television do I watch? Well, I'm certainly not average, and I believe that people watch far too much television. There are many, many problems with TV. What are these problems? Well, first, television exists mainly to make money from advertisements. Only programs that attract many viewers are shown, so there are too many silly dramas and not enough educational programs. Second, television creates a world where everyone is beautiful, rich and funny. This is not natural. Watching all these beautiful people makes people unhappy with their own lives. People should try to make the real world better. Third, television only talks, it never listens. It can be very bad for communication in the home. The family never talks, they only watch television together. Fourth, television is addictive. It is the most popular drug of the modern world. There is no need to think, just listen to the television. It will tell you what to think.
Unit 9, Talking Point. 1.
Do you watch a lot of television?
Sure, I watch television every evening. When you're a poor student like me, television is the best kind of entertainment. I can keep up with the news, too.
Yes, I know.
It doesn't cost anything, and you can watch interesting programs all night. Most of all, I love watching quiz shows. They are so silly that they make me laugh all the time.
Do you watch all the channels?
No, there's some really boring stuff like the shopping channel.
Right.
2.
What are the big stories in the news this week?
Let me think. Well, in national news, there was another scandal in the government. A politician was using his secretary's salary for his own campaign.
That's awful.
In international news, the United States announced that they will invest more money in developing alternative energy resources. As a result, the price of oil fell.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
3.
What are the bad points of television?
I think the worst thing about television is that it is one-way communication.
Uh-huh.
We listen to the television, but the television never listens to us. People become very passive.
Any other problems?
Well, it's not so serious, but I think that there are too many American dramas on TV at the moment. Also, there aren't enough quiz shows.
4.
Do you think that the media shows enough respect for people's privacy?
Yes, I think that they probably do now.
Why do you say that?
A few years ago, the government passed a law to protect privacy.
I see.
Now, a television station or newspaper that does not respect people's privacy can be fined a lot of money.
That's interesting.
But the government doesn't have the power to shut them down.
Unit 9, Research and Presentation.
Good morning. Today I would like to talk about a newspaper which I researched on the internet. The newspaper is called The Guardian. This is a British newspaper. You can see the 3 biggest headlines from the front page in Table 1. The first headline means that a lot of British lamb and pork cannot be eaten because they have a disease. Stocks of safe lamb and pork are almost finished. The second one means that a British company is going to build many new nuclear plants because they think that fossil fuels are becoming too expensive. Finally, the third headline means that Hague, the leader of the Conservative Party, thinks that the Labour Party is allowing too many foreigners to enter Britain. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 10, Lecture.
Everyone can do something to stop pollution. Here are a few tips that will help you. First, save energy. Burning fossil fuels to provide energy for offices, homes and cars produces air pollution and global warming. There are several easy ways to save energy. Turn off lights and other machines when you leave a room. Set air conditioners and heating at a suitable temperature. Insulate the walls, windows, floors and attic of your building effectively. Heating and cooling your home uses at least 50% of the total energy consumed. Second, choose recyclable products. If possible, also buy products with recyclable packaging. After use, recycle all your paper, bottles, plastics and metals. Sort your trash into burnable, unburnable and so on. If your area doesn't have a recycling program, get together with your neighbours and start one. Third, always read product labels and buy the ones that are safe. In particular, you should be careful not to buy products which contain toxic chemicals such as benzene, mercury or lead. Some chemicals can be dangerous in the environment for hundreds of years. As much as possible, buy from companies that care about the environment. Fourth, and most importantly, do not waste anything. Buy only what you need. This is true for food, clothes, and anything else. People in developed countries, such as the United States or Japan, consume 50 times as much steel and 300 times as much plastic as someone in India. The Earth's resources are not unlimited. Our grandchildren will thank us if we start to use these resources more carefully today.
Unit 10, Talking Point 1.
You have to sort your rubbish, don't you?
Yes, it started 3 years ago.
It's difficult, isn't it?
At first it was quite difficult and everyone complained, but now we're all used to it. I put out burnable trash on Monday. On Tuesday morning, I put out my recyclable trash.
Recyclable is divided into different types, right?
Yes, it's divided into paper, plastics, glass, PET bottles, and cans.
That's good.
On Thursdays, I throw away unburnable trash. Then on Friday, I throw away burnable trash again.
2.
It's noisy near your home, isn't it?
Oh, yes. I live near the highway, so I can always hear the sound of cars. At midnight, the motorcycle gangs go by.
That's too bad.
I've gotten used to the sound of the cars, but about twice a week, during the day, a man drives through our neighborhood selling Asian food.
Those guys are annoying, aren't they?
Yes, he uses a really loud speaker, and it drives me crazy. But actually, when I think about it, I probably create the most noise with my electric guitar.
Probably.
I always play it late at night. My neighbors must hate me.
3.
Individuals can't do much to reduce pollution, can they?
That depends on the type of pollution. An individual can help recycling by sorting his trash.
That's true.
But many things cannot be recycled easily because they are all different sizes. I think that it is more important for companies to take action.
Packaging should be simplified, shouldn't it?
Definitely. All bottles and packages should be produced in standard sizes so that they can be easily recycled. I think everyone should buy from companies who use simple packaging. What do you think?
4.
There haven't been any serious pollution incidents in this country, have there?
Yes. A few years ago, there was an explosion at a chemical factory.
Oh, I remember. That was awful.
18 workers were killed and more than 40 went blind. At least 2,000 people in the city have told a doctor that they find it more difficult to breathe.
That company was closed down, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. And then last year, in another incident at the same company, 2 more people died.
Unit 10. Research and Presentation.
Good afternoon. Today I would like to talk about PCB, a very dangerous pollutant. In the past, PCB was widely used as an industrial chemical. After being used in factories, it was released into rivers and lakes. Today, there is still a very high level of PCB in many lakes. This increases through the food chain, and fish have the highest levels of PCB. Consumption of PCB has many health risks. For example, one study discovered that eating fish from Lake Ontario can make it more difficult for women to become pregnant. Another study shows the effect on children. Even very low levels of PCB increase childhood medical problems such as infections, allergies, and asthma. PCB is also a carcinogen and has been shown to cause liver cancer. Luckily, PCB is no longer produced in most countries, but its continued presence in the environment should be a warning to us. We must be careful about the long-term effects of the chemicals which we use. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 11. Lecture.
Population increase is the greatest problem that has ever faced the world. There are several areas that I would like to talk about today. First, let's think about water and food. Water is becoming very scarce all around the world. According to the International Water Management Institute, 1/3 of the world's people will not have enough water by 2025. The problem will be worst in poor countries. Water is, of course, also needed for growing food. Already, worldwide, 800 million people do not have enough food, and the number could grow. In addition, the growing population means that farmland is suffering from overuse and misuse. Second, let's look at the area of health. Cities are growing too fast, and the overcrowding helps spread disease. In addition, pollution in these cities is now the #1 killer of young children. New diseases are also spreading. AIDS affects 25% of the population in southern Africa. An older disease, tuberculosis, is also making a big comeback, and drugs are becoming less effective in fighting it. Next, social problems are another big area that will be influenced by population. Rapid population growth increases migration from one area to another. This can lead to increased crime and unemployment. Finally, the natural environment and climate of the Earth are being completely changed. The burning of fossil fuels is changing the Earth's atmosphere, and pollution is damaging huge areas of land and sea. In developed countries, a person produces 54,000 kilograms of trash in his lifetime. As population grows, our way of thinking will need to change, and this overconsumption will need to stop. Perhaps the best lesson for us is that human population increase has already made many species of animals and plants extinct.
Unit 11. Talking Point 1.
How many children would you like to have?
As many as possible. I love children. I'd like to have at least 3. How about you?
I don't want any, actually. When I was growing up, there were 7 people in my family. I was the youngest of 5 kids in my family. Everyone else took care of me, and I didn't have to take care of anyone. I guess that's why I don't really want to have children myself.
That's a pity.
Why?
You'd be a good father, wouldn't you?
2.
How long would you like to live?
I'd like to live until I'm 101. I'd love to have a big birthday party. All my children and grandchildren, and even my great-grandchildren will be there. How about you?
I used to think that I would like to die young. At that time, I thought that it would be best to die when I was still in good health, say about 25. But when I reached the age of 24, I decided to move it up to 40.
You're almost 40 now, aren't you?
No way! I'm only 37. But now I feel that living until 80 would be good. I definitely wouldn't like to live forever. I think that would get quite boring.
I see.
3.
How can you live a longer life?
Stress causes most early deaths. Everyone should have a hobby that helps them to relax. For example, I really enjoy playing the guitar.
Yeah.
And my brother enjoys reading. Any hobby that helps you to relax is going to make you live longer.
Clearly, the most important thing is to relax, isn't it?
Well, relaxing is important, but I think that a healthy diet is more important. We should eat lots of fruits and vegetables.
4.
Do you think that your country should allow more immigration?
No, definitely not. Foreigners take jobs away from us, and they cause trouble at schools. You agree, don't you?
20 years ago, I would have agreed because most immigrants were poor and it was leading to more crime and unemployment. However, things have changed now.
How have they changed?
Well, many immigrants have worked really hard and helped the economy. I think that we should encourage people to enter our country.
Well, I really can't agree with that.
Unit 11. Research and Presentation.
Good afternoon. Today I would like to talk about driving technology for the elderly. Around the world, the number of elderly people is growing very quickly. One of the greatest problems that these people face is transportation. Old people have poor eyesight and reactions. So, if they drive, it may be dangerous for themselves and other people. However, if an elderly person must give up driving, he or she may face a big loss of independence and convenience. Older people may not be able to have a good social life. This can lead to depression and other health problems. Driving could be made much easier for elderly people by using existing technology. First, infrared could be used to design night vision screens. This would help people with poor eyesight. Second, collision avoidance systems could help to reduce the number of crashes. We should not say that a person is too old to drive. Instead, we should be improving cars to help people. Public transportation can also use technology to improve services. Instead of using large buses which carry 50 people, we could use smaller, more flexible vehicles which go door to door. Another use of technology would be to allow an elderly person to order a ride by cell phone wherever they are. The technology needed to allow elderly people to have better transportation is already available today. We just need to think about the use of this technology. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Unit 12, Lecture.
Someone once said, "The future is very difficult to predict because it hasn't happened yet." Very true, but today let's look at 6 people's predictions about the future. Bill Gates started Microsoft and is now the richest man in the world. He is worth at least $35 billion. He predicts that paper books will disappear and that people will read e-books on a portable screen or special e-paper. Gates also believes that video conferencing over pocket-sized PCs will be as common as phone calls are today. Interestingly, the technology for this is already available in some countries, but most people continue to talk using only their voices. John Davis researches family relationships. He believes that people will be alone, but not lonely. Many more people will stay single. One of his more interesting ideas is that marriage will be replaced by groups of adults living together and raising children together. Roger Gosden is the author of the book Designing Babies. He says that women will be able to reset their body clocks and have babies up to the age of 70. This would allow women to develop better careers without worrying about not being able to have children. Peter Hudson, who studies the biology of the brain, believes that gene therapy may one day improve people's learning abilities. In addition, older people may be able to lead a much better life as gene therapy is used to fight the memory loss of old age. Peter G. Peterson, a former politician, believes that the average age of people will rise in most countries. These ageing societies could mean fewer wars in the future. If there are fewer young people, many countries may not be willing to risk losing them in war. Finally, James Simonson, a leading expert on nanotechnology, predicts that nanotechnology robots will build our cars one molecule at a time and increase our life expectancy by entering our bloodstream to clean and repair the body's organs.
Unit 12, Talking Point 1.
What will you do in the next 10 years?
The next 10 years? Let me think a moment. I guess that I will graduate from university in 3 years.
Did you say 3 years?
Yes, and after that, I want to go to work in another country for about 4 years. Hopefully, I can work for a company like Sony or Siemens.
Do you mean a big electronics company?
Yes, that would be a good experience. Then I'd like to come back to Japan. I will set up my own company. I will work there for 5 years, and then I will retire to live in Hawaii.
Sounds great. Good luck.
2.
Would you like to visit Mars?
Yes, I guess so. Everyone would love to go out into space, wouldn't they? But actually, no, I don't think so. I was looking at the photographs of Mars the other day.
Do you mean the NASA photos?
Yes, they're great photos, but I'd be bored. The place seems pretty empty. I usually like to go on trips where I can enjoy shopping and going to nice restaurants.
I see.
3.
How will science and technology make your life better in the future?
In many ways. Many machines are now becoming smaller, and that is wonderful. For example, my music player now fits in my pocket, but it can hold 5,000 songs.
Did you say 5,000?
Yes. In the future, a single pocket-sized machine will hold thousands of books, songs, and videos.
Wow.
I'm also looking forward to better health care. In the next 20 or 30 years, I think that medical science will really improve.
What do you mean by improve?
Scientists will find a cure for cancer, AIDS, and other diseases.
4.
Would you like to be cloned?
No, definitely not. There is one of me, and that is enough. If there were 2 or more of me, the world could become a terrible place.
Right.
But seriously, I don't agree with human cloning.
Not at all?
No, God made us to be unique, so we should respect that. Cloning other animals seems to be okay because I don't believe that other animals have a soul. But humans have a soul, and you can't clone that.
What do you mean by a soul?
That's difficult to explain.
Unit 12. Research and Presentation.
Good evening. Tonight, I would like to talk about one of my favorite topics, nanotechnology. Nanotechnology refers to the ability to create and change matter by precisely moving atoms and molecules. In nanotechnology, man creates molecular-size nanomachines. These machines would be programmed to reproduce themselves in the millions and then place atoms precisely to build molecules. These molecules could then be assembled together into whatever hard compounds we need or can imagine. Many researchers around the world are working on nanotechnology, and we may see the results in the near future. Some of the first practical applications of nanotechnology might be in material design and waste processing. Ultimately, we will be able to manufacture anything with single atoms. This change in manufacturing is revolutionary and will affect all aspects of existence. Thank you. Are there any questions?